Hello, Internet. How are y'all doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. The DNVR Avalanche Podcast is back, and
It was so awkward.
yeah,
It was like you'd never said it before.
I know. Well, I don't know. I got through DNVR Avalanche, and then I was gonna say a word that wasn't podcast. I have no idea what word I was gonna say, but it wasn't podcast. Anyway, we are back. Should be an interesting show today. I'm curious where AJ is going to land on a couple of these things.
Okay.
We'll get into it as the show goes on here. Let's just go ahead and dive in here. As Green Mountain Dental Group is in Lakewood, and they are the best family-owned dentists in the metro area. Plus, they're extreme Colorado sports fans, just like everyone here at DNVR. And when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, or exam, you'll get a free Sonicare toothbrush just for signing up, coming in, and taking care of your teeth. They're just 15 minutes from downtown over in Lakewood, and it's a great first step to good health when it comes to making sure your teeth are clean and healthy. So jump on down there, head over to Green Mountain Dental Group and get that free Sonicare toothbrush. Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by Davidson's Beer, Wine, and Spirits, my go-to shop for all of my beer, alcohol, or wine. You know, you name it. If it is a spirit, they have it. I mostly just stick to my Breck Brew. Not really.
Yeah, I've never... I'll say this. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that I've never gotten into it. And there's so many different, things to learn about it that I'm just I don't know where to start. And it's I need somebody to hold my hand through it. And then, you realize when you get into your 30s, people stop holding your hand for things and they say, just Google it.
Yep. Beer's easy. I don't mess with an easy thing for me. So that's where I stick with it. But not easy is what we're going to be doing potentially on the show today. I mean, maybe people will think it's easy. We're going to be buying or selling on breakout seasons from Avalanche players. And
it's past judgment.
This is how, making these decisions is how you build a successful or failed roster in many ways. You bet on the wrong horses and things crash and burn pretty quickly. So let's get a few things out of the way first. There isn't a person that has watched Avalanche games that isn't buying Cale Makar.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah,
because they're technically a breakout season for Makar, putting up 50 points in his first year.
Yeah.
The other one that we don't have to get too in depth about on today's show, I think maybe for another day, is Val Nichushkin.
Okay. That's fair.
It's that situation is pretty different.
It's so different. Yeah. Because if you look in his career, if you go back and you look at his entire NHL career,
yep.
He's had 4 full seasons, and this was his third best point-wise.
Right. These numbers aren't out of the ordinary for his career. It's more of the immediate recent history that...
Yeah, it's that he had a 34-point season as an 18-year-old.
Yep.
And a 29-point season as a 20-year-old, and then left.
Dealt with injuries, left.
Went to the KHL for a couple of years, came back, and then had a brutal year in Dallas last year, and then bounced back wonderfully with Colorado this year.
Yep.
And there were things, he had some incredibly bad luck. He had some great fortune. The man scored a goal off his face. He also played 14 minutes, and the Nichushkin thing could probably be a pod in its own because it's so different. Where it's not really I wouldn't call it a breakout season. but like a
comeback season.
Yeah, like a salvaging of the career.
Yeah, for sure. So that one's a little bit different, just to be clear on who we're talking about on this pod. I mean, we can just be straight up clear with you. We'll be talking about Burakovsky, Sam Girard, and Ryan Graves. Let's start with Sam Girard because, again, a little bit of a different conversation in that, sure, he had a breakout season, but he is already under contract. The Avs have already committed a significant amount of years to him.
They've committed to him through his 20s.
Yeah. So that one is locked up, at least in terms of a contract for the Avs. Girard's year was interesting because I don't know if I want to say it got off to a slow start, but there was a big lull in the first half of the season for him production-wise.
Yeah, there was sort of his season had sort of fits and starts to it.
Yep.
Where if you look at like point totals, it looks consistent on paper.
But if you look at how the bread got made.
Yeah, like how he actually played, it was just so different.
Yep.
You know, like I thought he had a good start to the year. He looked really good. And then his November was really iffy.
Yeah, he had 1 goal and 1 assist. I guess through up until the last day of November, he had 1 goal and 1 assist, and then he put up 2 assists at the end of November. But
yeah, and then most of December he wasn't very good, and then right at the end of December, going into January, he just took off.
The switch flipped. Yeah, he had that 8 points in 3 game stretch or whatever.
Yeah, where it was like, oh my gosh, like this is okay. This is a big turnaround now.
Yep.
And that was fun while it lasted, but obviously that wasn't going to continue. But he had a very good January and really parlayed that into a strong February. And he was playing really, really well at the end of the year.
Yep.
The offense is still a little kind of touch and go in terms of the consistency of it, but I think it took a big step forward in that. You remember he's still just 21 years old.
Right. Well, 22 now.
Did he have his birthday?
I think he was born in March. No, he was born in May. Yeah. The M months.
So you're right. He just turned 22.
Yeah.
So he's 20, he's barely 22 years old. And he's already so good in some areas.
I think like a veteran, yeah.
Well, and it also is, you know, we've seen Colorado has been lucky in that we've seen a lot of the high-end young guys come in. So we're not super accustomed to watching like young guys like struggle their way through things. It's usually been like, hey, you're really good and you're going to become great, or you're okay and you're going to become pretty good. Like,
I mean, I would put Sam Girard kind of in the middle of those two.
I would too, and that's where like Tyson Jost has been the face of struggle, right? Like, Oh man, he's a bust. And then you have all the other guys. Makar he was outstanding. McKinnon was really good and then exploded. Rantanen took until year 2 and exploded. Landeskog won the Calder. You know, like a lot of these guys just showed up and were good from the hop. And Girard showed up and he was good. There was a lot of work to be done. He was encouraging, but like, man, so many things about his game were really exciting to watch. And the way that he moved his feet and the way that he kind of worked his way into the lineup and found success, you just kept waiting for the offense to come. Like, where is it? Because he's the archetype of an offensive defenseman. He's small. He's great. He's a great skater. He's a really good puck mover. But oddly enough, it was his defensive game that was stronger early on, and it's his offense we're waiting on.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think his defensive ability has been nothing short of necessary for the Avs.
Yeah.
As he is probably the most consistent presence on the team in that end, as you've seen pretty much everyone else on the team, certainly the players you would expect to be the defensive defensemen, consistently have had issues with the puck, whether it be, the obvious with Zadorov and Cole's struggles in clearing pucks without brain farts, or EJ losing about half a step and not quite being that same stalwart defensively. Sam Girard has been the steadying force when it comes to that. The offense is a bit interesting. He did have about a third of his points, I think, on the power play, but it did feel somewhat coinciding with his breakout in the end of December, where I think the Avs realized they cannot run him as the power play defenseman that's going to shoot the puck from the point all the time.
Yeah.
Because his shot just isn't that good. It's not who he is. Yeah, exactly. And they need him to be a distributor from there to make that work. Granted, for a lot of the year, the second power play unit was a hodgepodge of whoever.
Yeah.
But as I think they kind of discovered who Sam Girard is on the offensive end, it helped him a lot. And in the end, this is why I'm going to be buying on Sam Girard, is I think this is an extremely repeatable season on the whole. Again, as you mentioned at the start, probably needs to be a bit more consistent over the course of the season, but the numbers are repeatable.
So where he finished at 34 points,
roughly half a point per game.
Right. And I think that is where, you could say, hey, had they played the last 12, maybe if he continues up at the same point per game pace, he gets 6 points and he gets to 40.
Yep.
And that's awesome. You would love, if Girard got to 40 every year, Colorado's
all day. Yeah.
Colorado's going to be extremely hard to take down between what Makar brings and what we believe Byram will bring.
Yeah.
So Girard, I think I'm buying Girard's breakout this year, and I'm buying that 34 points is right around the area he should settle in. And that's even if he ends up losing second power play time to Bowen Byram, which right. I don't know that he will. I certainly don't think it'll happen right away.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so immediately.
Maybe over time they make that move, but right away I don't think it will, because there's safety in Girard. Like, why would you take that from him? That he can do it. He's fine in that area. It's totally there's no reason, unless Byram comes out and is just like utterly awesome.
Yeah, I don't. The only reservation I have on Girard's career with the Avalanche so far is not one we'll know this season until August. He's been hurt in the playoffs for 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as the hitting picked up and the physicality ramped up, he struggled. 2 years in a row he couldn't stay in the lineup. He's obviously got to fix that.
Just has to find a way to stay healthy when he
right. If that and one of the other things about remembering that he's so young, and while he is smaller, and so his frame won't have a chance to really max out and really bulk up very much. But physical maturity, getting into his early 20s, when he's 23, 24, 25,
that prime is still coming. Yeah.
Yeah, he should be really rounding into his real mature,
as healthy as he's ever going to be.
Yeah, like his physical peak is what I'm saying. Where he's at the sweet spot between young legs and grown man.
Yeah. So AJ, are you buying or selling the Spinny Boy?
Totally. I'm buying that stock. I'm buying that $5 million is a projection on him. But if he repeats what he did this year, the $5 million is worth it.
100%. Between such a well-rounded game.
Yep.
And you're getting that guy for all of his prime, essentially.
His entire 20s.
Yep.
year one of his 7-year contract starts his age 22 season.
Yep.
So 22 plus 7, he'll be 29.
I mean, realistically, at the end of that contract, he'll be certainly top 10, maybe even pushing top 5 all time in games played for the Avs if he sticks with the team.
Assuming good health. Well, certainly for defensemen.
Yeah.
There are some guys ahead of him who got a little earlier of a start that are going to continue to climb that.
McKinnon and Landeskog are going to be.
Yeah. The Rantanen's got a head start on him.
Yeah,
so.
That's true too. Nah, not as much, but a little bit.
I think he has well, and then he gave a lot of it back this year.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll take our first break there, as it is time to acknowledge Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. Whether you're looking for a Mile High City Copper lager to have as the sun sets over Denver, or one of their other beers, the Avalanche Amber, Colorado Core, Pop Peak, you name it, a ton of other ones. They have you covered with pretty much every type of beer under the sun. You can head down to their farmhouse in Littleton and use code DNVR to get $5 off. You can even get free delivery for their beer and a little bit of food as well. So head on down there, support them. You can call 303-803-1380 to schedule a pickup from noon to 8 p.m. Also, my DraftKings pick of the week. Look, I don't want to say that DraftKings is just giving everyone $50 for free, because it's sports and it's betting. Crazier things have happened. But they have a special going on right now where Amanda Nunes, who is a almost minus 600 favorite to win her fight this weekend, they're giving you an odds boost to where you can bet up to $10 on her at plus 500. So,
all right. That's free money.
Yeah, they're basically giving you enough money to pay for that pay-per-view is what they're doing. So
smart business.
If you want, go ahead and pay for the pay-per-view that way. If you want essentially a free $50 on your $10 bet, go ahead and get that as well. It's you can't. Well, again, I'm not saying you can't really miss, but as far as sports betting goes, it's about as close to a surefire thing as you can get. Anyway, just take out your chances, get your opportunities where you can, and download the DraftKings Sportsbook, the top-rated sportsbook app in the world. And if you use code DNVR when you sign up for a limited time, all new users will get a sign-up bonus of up to $1,000. No-brainer odds, and rewarding you with a matching your sign-up bonus. Sign-up bonus is up to $1,000, but you must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires 25x playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by Davidson's Beer, Wine, and Spirits with Rudo and AJ. AJ, where do you want to go first? Do you want to go to the forward, or do you want to do the other defenseman?
Let's do the other defenseman.
All right.
We're already on that side of the puck.
Sure, why not? So, Ryan Graves will be taking home the plus-minus trophy for the regular season in the NHL this year. Has
true facts.
Almost certainly, in my opinion, fully established himself as an NHL defenseman.
Also true facts.
Also, in my opinion, has been quite lucky this year.
Also true facts.
So I guess we need to figure out where we come down. Which side of the line are we on here? How much of this has been luck for Ryan Graves, or how much has he proved that this will be repeatable?
Going back to the 26 games that he played last season, and he was solid, right? Yeah. Like it was like, yeah, this feels good. He looks solid. Graves, I think he overplayed his ability a little bit this year. I also think there was a little more made of his season than.
I would definitely agree with the latter one. Yeah,
that then was reality. Just like a lot of people talked about. Graves is having this big breakout, and like he had a 26-point season where he had 9 goals. Some of the goals were from that big slap shot, which is very effective.
Like 2 of them. Most of them were the back door.
Some of them were from the old Nick Holden, sneaking on in, and that's intelligence, right? That's reading the play, and that's hockey IQ. That will be repeatable because there's going to be open ice, and his willingness to jump into it and to go and do that. You don't see Nikita Zadorov or Ian Cole ever really do that.
No,
very rarely do you see him do that, and you see Graves do it constantly. Now, with Graves, the foot speed is a problem, and we've talked about this a ton.
Yep.
So when he does it, he's committed because him getting back,
it's an odd man rush the other way, unless the forward is covered. Yeah,
right. He either has to know that he has to have confidence that one of the forwards is going to read it and going to move to his spot, or he's got to get a little bit lucky. He's either got to score or they've got to retain possession so that he can get back there safely. That's about it. Like that's what he needs to do. But he does a great job of reading the play. And he also, one of his big strengths as a player, and this is something we don't talk about a lot, but it's understanding his own game. Because he knows he has a limitation with his feet. He knows he's a bigger guy who's not the fastest dude out there. So he will step up on a guy in the neutral zone if he thinks, okay, I've lost this gap control. I'm in trouble. I need to eliminate this guy right now. Otherwise, he's by me.
Yeah.
He knows that. Like, and a player who plays within himself and knows his limitations and understands that, because if he tries to turn and skate with someone, especially through the neutral zone where the guy coming at him has already got a speed advantage, and then he tries to turn and skate, he doesn't have the first step quickness. He doesn't have the burst, the acceleration to handle that. And he knows that. So you don't see it from him a lot. It happens sometimes. Like it happens to everybody. It's happened to McCarr this year. And he has the first steps acceleration to hang with a lot of guys. But sometimes you just get beat. And that guy's got the momentum and he's gone. Graves and like that's where it's like, hey, take a penalty, whatever. Like there are options available to you. And Graves does a good job of that. He really does a solid job of understanding and playing within himself. And the penalty minutes, he had that one stretch where it was like he kept taking them.
Yep.
But at the end of the year, he finished with 45 penalty minutes.
Nothing too egregious.
No, you're not talking about him as one of the leading guys on the team. You're not talking about him as one of the guys really high up on the NHL leaderboard. The Avs had a penalty problem with 3 guys, and he just wasn't one of them.
Yep.
So that's encouraging. A defensive defenseman who can give you a little bit of offensive pop, who can help you on the PK, and who's not putting you in bad situations very often. A lot to like about Ryan Graves. And as a 24-year-old, you're feeling like this is it. The next 3 to 5 years are the best you're going to get out of him.
Yeah. My one reservation, and the phrase I've used a lot this year, and I'll be honest, I've cooled on it a little bit, but just to kind of go through the process, is I kept thinking, what happens to Ryan Graves when the horseshoe falls out? And we saw it regress a little bit. The first couple of months of the season, his on-ice save percentage was like 96% or something insane. But it ended a little, I think it was like 93.5 at the end of the season or something. And the shooting percentage on ice was over 11 and something extremely high. So he was still quite lucky in the year. And without diving too much into the plus minus conversation, you have to get a little bit lucky to win that crown.
His on ice save percentage actually finished at 92.10.
Okay, so that's
which is a touch high, It's just a touch high, but nothing. The on ice shooting percentage was 12.58. That's insane.
Is that all situations?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
that's insane.
12.5 or whatever. Yeah, that. If you're shooting 10%, you're on ice,
right,
you're doing pretty dang well.
Right.
So.
You're having a really, really fortunate season if your on ice shooting percentage is 10.
Yeah.
If I switch that to even strength, it's 12.37 on ice shooting percentage, and the on ice save percentage is 93.32.
Yeah. So you can't completely exclude the factor that he was pretty lucky when it comes to filling pucks into the net.
Yeah, when you look at some of the analytics, the high danger chances for percentage, it's at 48, meaning the other team had more of them than the Avs did when he was on the ice.
Yep.
But the high danger goal for percentage is 59%. The Avs had 33 high danger chance, the high danger goals for with Graves on the ice, and 23 against, despite giving up more chances.
The Avs finished way more consistently than their opponents in high danger opportunities.
And that's where your kind of scoring chances went Colorado's way with Graves on the ice. Corsi was almost even. Actual shots on goal for almost even. Goals for 66%. The Avs scored 72 goals this year at even strength with Graves on the ice, and only gave up 37. But the expected goal percentage was 55. So he's on the right side of things in terms of expected. It just went the extreme.
Yep. Look, you just can't expect that player to win the plus minus crown again, right?
Right. Well, and Bowen Byram is a big X factor into this because you wonder how many minutes he plays.
And gonna munch away at that a little bit, yeah.
Right. Like Graves had a cushy job next to Cale Makar where none of the other Cole and Zadorov didn't really ever find like strong chemistry there. And so Graves kind of became the de facto choice. Does that continue next year? Does Byram chew into that and you end up with a Byram Makar pairing by the end of the season, which you're honestly hoping is your future top pairing? Maybe, I don't know. Like that's why Byram is sort of the unknown here.
There's some uncertainty, yeah,
about how you handle Graves moving forward. The other question is the way that you handle Graves moving forward is to capitalize on his great season and move him while his value is probably at his peak.
Right. It's a question worth asking, not just because Graves had a great season, but because the Avs have Bowen Byram, because the Avs have Connor Timmins, because they already have to move a defenseman out, if not two in the next couple of years to make room for these players.
And this is also where the expansion draft throws a wrench into it, because if you don't have the expansion draft looming over you, you could easily just say, well, great, you keep Graves and you have Timmins replace Cole and Byram will replace Zadorov, and you move Zadorov out in a summer deal.
Yep.
And then you just let Cole's contract expire and let him go and seek opportunity elsewhere, or whatever. And then theoretically, you have Timmins replacing Cole, and then Byram replacing Zadorov, and Graves remains like one of your stalwarts on your third pairing, and you enjoy him through his 20s while he's still an RFA and cheap. Before he hits that UFA and he goes and gets
and you let him go get paid,
by Detroit.
Yep.
So you kind of do the exact same thing. You follow the Patrick Nemeth plan, except that there's expansions you have to deal with. And for an expansion team, a guy like Ryan Graves is going to be very intriguing. And, if he ends up being the guy that you lose, that sucks, but you are prepared. Like, you are built to handle that. Just given the internal guys that are on the way.
If you lose what was ultimately a third pairing defenseman, you did pretty okay in an expansion draft.
For sure.
It is tough. Again, I absolutely think he's an NHL player.
Agreed.
But if I'm the Avs, I would be selling on Ryan Graves. If I'm me, I'm selling on Ryan Graves. Because I think, just as you said, you can get value here.
Do you know that there are teams out there that value plus minus?
Not only do they value plus minus, you have a defenseman, a spot that for a long time now has been a premium in this league. Obviously not to the level of elite goaltending, but teams pay for defense. Teams are willing to take shots on defenders based on smaller sample sizes, based on need, because they see a guy and there's only 6 spots to fill, and they think Ryan Graves can be a legitimate top 4 pairing. He probably can be for some of the weaker defenses in the league.
Oh, and you look at a team like the Jets.
Yep. Who,
you know, like they could really use a bigger guy who blocks shots and hits people.
Yep.
And is not completely lost with the puck. Like, will make mistakes, but it's why he's a third pairing defender and not a top pairing defender, is that there are big holes in the game. But a team like the Jet, like they could absolutely use that guy.
Yeah.
At the same time, so could Colorado. If they're going to move on from Zadorov, Graves is the cheap option there. One of the reasons that you're looking to move on from Z is that he's entering the last year of RFA. You're not looking to maybe give him a long-term deal just because of all the things we've talked about. You have so many guys, and he's already got himself up into the nearly $4 million range, given that I expect he'll get some kind of a raise.
Yeah, probably.
Even if it's nominal, it gets him. He's going to be pushing $4 million.
Yep.
And you can get Graves for probably half that for the next 2 years,
if not less. Yeah.
So the reasons, the argument for keeping Graves is that, well, hey, you helped develop him. You didn't do all of the development work, obviously, but he got to Colorado and he did what he had to do with the Eagles, got called up and took advantage. He took advantage in the NHL when other guys have not.
Yeah, straight up. It's the only reason I'm selling on Graves is a matter of value, and I don't see how he doesn't regress next season. And I'm not saying it'll be a major regression, but
it'll be enough.
Yeah, he's not going to be plus 40. I don't expect him to push the 10-goal mark again. And his value just won't be at the same spot at the end of next season, which isn't to say he isn't still valuable to the Avs as a third pairing defenseman. It's just to say, if someone's giving you a first round pick for him right now, and I don't know if that's what his value is, but you're not going to be getting that at the end of next year, especially with teams sorting out their expansion situation.
This is where I think that conversation about value is very interesting with Graves, because if a team's offering a first round pick, you do that.
Right, exactly. You don't even think about it. Yeah.
Right. You're girl, please. Like, that's easy. If a team is offering a top 50 pick, if again,
team second,
say Detroit was offering the top pick in the second round or something, and you're like,
if you can go get a defensive prospect better than Drew Hellison with that pick, I mean,
right? Like, if you and some of the guys we've been talking about in the draft, what if there's a guy like a Walland or a Poirier or a Cormier who do fall into that area where you're like, hey, you weren't going to take this guy in the first round when it was your only pick for 50 picks, but now you have a second one. You can kind of do something else with this.
Yeah.
Whatever. Even if it's a guy like Cormier that you don't really need, like, you're whatever. You could take exactly. Like, you could still just take the talent and be like, well, oh no, we have too many good players. So
good problem to have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the value that you could be having the conversation. Okay, cool. That makes sense to do. If a team is offering you a 3rd round pick, I don't think for me that's worth it. I would not do that.
Yeah.
Not, maybe a year from now when you are staring down the expansion barrel and you're trying to shave off the edges to be careful about what you lose and what you don't, whatever, right? But going into next year, I just don't think that's worth it. That's where I'm drawing the line. Is a team offers a 2nd round pick, I say yes. If a team offers a 3rd round pick, I'm saying no.
I mean, let's be realistic. The Avs are building to win a cup in the next handful of years.
Yeah.
And a 3rd round pick is probably at least 3 years away from the NHL, barring, you hit a lucky home run.
I mean, you're hoping that it's 3 years.
Right. And minimum 3 years, maybe realistically 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And at that point, McKinnon's already on his next contract. Who knows what the Avs look like by then?
Right.
So as far as getting immediate value for Graves, a 3rd round pick just doesn't make sense.
Right. I would be for like a top 50 pick. If Boston is calling me and wants to give me a 2nd round pick, and it's the last pick in the 2nd round,
it always depends on who's there. If there's like a slam dunk number 1 list on the Avs board there, then it's a different conversation. But
sure, there have been some guys in the last couple of years that have slipped. But I mean, even if it's the caliber of a Bokaj, yeah, say like that's a 3rd round guy. Like if it's that guy, are you?
You have an established NHLer, and you're not sure you're getting one. Like
exactly, like that's where. But is it? If you could get a guy like Timmins,
well, yeah. Again,
then yeah.
Where is your cutoff on projected people in the draft? Of we're pretty sure we're getting an NHLer out of this kid, but
yeah,
so it's a tough conversand
right. It's a very thin line between yes and no on where you're willing to sell on Graves.
Yep.
And just because you are competing for a cup, you are going to err on the side of no more often than yes.
I would agree with that, and it's a good place to take. Well, I guess officially buying or selling, AJ. So,
boy. Can I?
No, you can't push.
Buying the breakout? No.
Okay.
Buying him as an NHL player, as a bona fide NHLer? Yes.
Pretty much where I came as well.
Buying him as like a pseudo 2nd pairing guy, which he was this year at times? No.
Okay. I'm with you on that. Anyway,
really like him though.
Yeah, he's super solid for what he is. Just don't fall into the trap of overplaying him.
Smart players, man. He's a great example of a smart player that can overcome not having the most natural raw talent in the world.
He's inverse EJ, yeah.
Knowing how to, there you go. He just knowing how to play, knowing how to be.
All right. Well, we can take our 2nd period break here. And if you're looking to smarten up a little bit like Ryan Graves, MSU Denver Online puts a dynamic education at your fingertips without forcing you to decide between earning a degree and living your life. MSU Denver is the Colorado institution providing rigorous and affordable online programs taught by professors who bring the real world into the classroom. MSU Denver graduates use their relevant degrees to land coveted jobs, and some of our very own staff members here at DNVR either like me, graduated from MSU, or are taking MSU Denver online classes this summer. 3rd period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by Davidson's Beer, Wine, and Spirits with Rudo and AJ. So, last on the list, Andre Burakovsky, the breakout man, the man the Avs brought in to score goals, and that is exactly what he did. Also distributed the puck pretty decently as well, to be honest with you. We've had the conversation about his contract. People know I'm very high on him. But Can he repeat a season like he's had this year? Can he be a consistent goal scorer for the Colorado Avalanche over whatever a potential extension looks like for him?
Sure, totally. Done.
All right.
Let's get out of here for the day.
Confirmed buying Burakovsky. We're done. 45 points in 58 games. Let's start with the big, obvious, hold up a minute thought here. Shot 19.4%, is a career 14% shooter. It's just not going to sustain, right? I mean, if he can shoot 16 or 17% next year, you're extremely happy with that.
Yeah. The thing with the shooting percentage, his lowest is 10.8.
Sure, and just go watch his goals from this year, and I promise you he's a good shooter.
Not a single greasy goal.
Yeah.
But in his career, he's had a 13.8, 13.5, 10.8, 14.3, 12, 19.4.
Yeah.
So a good shooter. Like when you're a 13.9% career shooter, and if you even remove the 19% he shot this year, a 12.8% shooter is still very, very good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a dangerous player. The big thing this year, the shot attempts didn't go up as much as we wanted, but they went up.
I don't think the shot attempts are terrible, granted that he only played 58 games.
Right, that's the thing. You look at, he had 184 shot attempts this year. Not shots on goal, just shot attempts. He had 184 of them.
Yep.
But that's in 58 games played. His career high was 238, and that's in 79 games played. He had 6 more shot attempts this year in 58 than last year when he played 76 games and averaged 11 minutes of ice time. He averaged 15 minutes of ice time this year. That should be his new normal.
Yep.
The time on ice should be the new normal, and the shot attempts, they went up. That's great. He had 103 shots on goal, which is 23 behind his career high, which happened in his second year when he played 79 games. He would have surpassed that had he been healthy down the stretch, whatever. Like he would have surpassed that.
Yep.
Had he gotten to play a full 82 game season, even had he gotten to play a 70 game season like the Avs did,
right?
He was on pace to go past these numbers. His rates were all there. Everything went up across the board. The thing that concerned me was how much of it was noise, right? Like what did he have in terms of second assists where he was just
picking up easy points because he played with Nathan McKinnon for a while.
Right. And like cheaping out on a couple of points here and there, right?
Yep.
So I went and I was looking into it, and again, like we talked about with Graves, some of these numbers are going to come down because they were on the fortunate side. The on-ice shooting percentage, he was just under 11. The on-ice save percentage, he's at 92. So
on the high side, certainly.
It's definitely, the PDO at 1.031 is on the high side.
Yep. Not absurd, but high.
It's pretty high. For a full season, you're looking at a guy it's high.
Yeah.
But you do look at a lot of these other things. The expected goals percentage is 55. High danger percentage is 52. Scoring chance percentage is just under 57. Shots for percentage is 54. The Corsi percentage is 57. Like the Avs in every facet, they controlled quality, they controlled quantity, they did everything well when he was out there on the ice.
Yep.
They did everything well when he was out there. And then you want to get into, he played with Nathan McKinnon. His most common line mate this year, Nazem Kadri, Jonas Donskoy. Nathan MacKinnon. And then way down on the list is Val Nichushkin.
I mean, look, he played basically twice as much without Nathan MacKinnon than he did with. With MacKinnon, his 5-on-5 Corsi, it was 50.31. Without him, it was 52.98. So there is a lot of credence to the point that, particularly when he gets a little bit sheltered and the Avs put Nathan MacKinnon's line best on best, Burakovsky can prey on the weaker defenses that he has to go against.
Yep.
And that's before this season. That's exactly the player that the Avs were looking for. And the Burakovsky trade seems, at least through this year, to have worked out perfectly in that regard. This is just a question of, is that repeatable?
He's 24 years old.
Yep.
So if it's not repeatable, it was a bad bet.
Yep.
But you think about what they gave up in the deal. You know, we were just talking about you'd give up Ryan Graves for a second-round pick, but not a third.
Yep.
They got a bona fide top six forward in Burakovsky for a second and a third.
Essentially Carl Soderberg.
Yeah.
And a second. So you took a guy who's aging out of the league and turned him into a top six forward entering his prime.
Yep. With the draft pick thrown in.
Yeah.
A good draft pick, mind you. But one where would you rather have the second round pick this year? Or would you rather have Andre Burakovsky?
Andre Burakovsky, for sure.
Because if you were to get Andre Burakovsky with that second round pick, you would feel like you hit a home run.
Exactly.
Especially this team with their history in the second round.
Yeah. Don't need to go there.
Yeah, we don't have to get into it, but you know.
It ain't good. Yeah.
It exists. We
definitely selling the Avs second round draft picks in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. Exactly that. As far as the value of the trade, it made perfect sense. And certainly there's a little bit of hindsight knowing the season Burakovsky had there. But it was a gamble at the time that has paid off. And I'm buying Burakovsky 100%. I have to be buying him. Granted, I said I'd sign him to $6.5 million. So I do think the shooting percentage will come down. I do also think, particularly not this year, but as the Avs move forward, if they can fill out that top six with one more puck distributor, you get Alex Newhook in there. I really do think Burakovsky can be a key goal scorer for them on that second line going forward and shoot the puck even more.
True. well said.
So is he ever going to push for 30 goals? Boy, I don't know. But
like this year would have been kind of the year to do it when you're shooting a 19%, because
exactly.
That's kind of what it's going to take.
Yeah.
You have to realize he's fifth banana on this offense when it's healthy.
Yep.
And if your fifth best forward is having a 30-goal season, then
I will say
probably
only
pretty good.
2 power play goals. If the Avs ever could figure out a solid secondary unit.
Yeah. I don't know. The power play frustrates me. The whole conversation annoys me because I'm at this point just don't even have a second unit.
Right. Just play MacKinnon for 2 minutes with guys around him.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Do what the Capitals have done with Ovechkin for years and years and years.
Right. I think that's the move.
Which, fine. I'm totally okay with that. Just, if you're going to commit to that, do it and understand how that affects an Andre Burakovsky's value.
Yeah, but he had 9 power play assists.
11.
So, he had 11?
Oh, no, 9. Sorry.
He had
11 power play points with 2 goals,
right.
9 assists. Right. Yeah,
so he had 9 power play assists, and that's fine. He had coming in, he had 10 in his career So,
right. Well, he also was not playing PP1 at all in Washington.
Well, he didn't really play much PP1 this year either. Like, it wasn't a main role for him.
It wasn't, but with all the injuries the Avs went through.
Yeah, but it was like he was not even when he was over on the wall, he was not setting up and firing away like Mikko does.
He was not the trigger puller on the power play at all.
That was the thing that I think frustrated me the most about it, was that he didn't have that confidence. And it's like, how can you not have that confidence? They went and got you to be a shooter. They're putting you in a position to friggin' shoot.
You literally have 15 bar down goals at 5-on-5 this year.
Right, like straight up, dude. Like, how can you not have the confidence to do this? And he was so timid over there on the wall. And like, hey, he ended up with 9 power play assists. If I could guarantee I got that next year, I'd take it.
Yeah.
And then whatever happens with the goals happens with the goals. But I would like to see a little more aggression. And maybe this is the kind of season he needed, right? Maybe this was it. He needed to see, okay, I can shoot with the best of them. I can be that trigger man. And the next couple of years, we could be in for a total treat.
And he just blasts it, yeah.
Right, and maybe that confidence never really comes. He's sort of a timid young man, and
that's just who he is, and he can't change. Yeah,
exactly. Where he's never gonna have like that swagger, that where he walks in, and it's he's the guy. He's not really that. He's not really wired like that.
I will say, even if he isn't that guy, is not that type of player the one that does have an obscenely high shooting percentage sometimes? Because when he's pulling the trigger, he knows he's sniping.
Yeah. Well, and I will also add that while he may not necessarily have the confidence to just fire away on the power play, we also saw, look at his goals this year. Him flying down the right side, left side, doesn't matter. He has no problem with the confidence to shoot from there. When he's on the move and in transition, he's very comfortable.
His first goal of the season is a wheel around, falling down snipe from the circle.
Against Boston.
Yeah. So even if mentally he isn't the super confident blaster, the physical gift is absolutely there.
Totally.
So, yeah, y'all already know I'm buying him. I think it's an easy buy, and Jesse was like on point in our predictions show for Andre Burakovsky. So,
yeah, our bold predictions ended up like not so bold.
Yeah, which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's when half of your team has a career year, it's hard to be like really bold.
We have to go all in and be like, the Burakovsky scoring 50 next year to get bold.
That's right.
Anyway,
at this point, bold would be McKinnon actually getting to 100.
The season not getting canceled before McKinnon hits 100 points.
He was going to be out anyway.
Yeah. Well, but either way.
Anyway.
Buying or selling Andre Burakovsky with the
Super
Avs.
Duper buying.
Super duper buying. All right. I guess that's it. Anyone else did you wanted to just mention quickly that kind of had a breakout year, or?
Selling Donskoy's year.
I don't know if I'm selling it. Just that he's not going to get to play like 20 games with Nathan McKinnon and get carried.
Probably selling Cole.
Yeah, does that even count as a breakout year?
No, just in general.
Yeah.
Did he end up finishing? Oh, he ended up tying his career high.
Would have broke it with a couple more games, no doubt.
Yeah, 12 more games played. All he needed was 1 point.
Yeah.
So, but he had such a good year. If Ian Cole can give them that again next year, man, that's
at age 32, 31.
Yeah, 31. It's a reasonable expectation. It wasn't like he was dominant.
And no, but he also, is not. The breakouts are not going to be expected of him, especially with Bowen Byron coming in, and that should be part of his job.
Yes.
You're going to see the veteran defense. I mean, we've already seen a massive transition to defense for EJ. And honestly, Cole's brought in to be defense, and I think he's just going to settle back into that role. But
I think he was fine there. A lot of the points that he had this year came from him chipping pucks out of zones or banking them.
Yeah, no,
or whatever.
I'm not saying he was bad at defense. I'm just saying the points are not super replicable.
Yeah, I would expect a cut of 10 of them.
Yeah. 15-ish is well within the norm for his career, I would say.
Yeah.
With assuming a healthy season. But
yeah. 15 points I think is fair. That's fine.
So
it was just weird this year because almost everybody had a career year, and then EJ had like an anti-career year.
Pretty much. He had the no points life.
Yeah, where it was like half of his goals were empty netters.
Correct. He only scored. He didn't score for like 4 months or something. A goal, that is. But
yeah.
Either way,
anyway, whatever.
Yeah, different conversation because his defense was actually quite valuable. But
yeah, EJ's a complicated guy, and moving forward today, everything it's complicated with him.
It's complicated. That's a good way to put it. As we get out of here for today on this podcast, kind of a longer one for us. Good chats about some breakouts for the Avs and where we think they stand going forward. But either way, you can always find us here 5 days a week, providing you the Avalanche content you're looking for. Thank you to everyone who listened, especially those of you live. We will be back tomorrow, as always, and we will also have a watch-along of the man himself, Bowen Byram, who could be coming in and stealing a job next year. So if you want to tune in and see just how good that kid can be sure to jump on at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. On that note, I guess it's time to let you guys know about trimming your pubic hair. Manscaped is the best trimming trimmer. Sure. They have the best trimmer in the business, the Lawnmower 3.0, with ceramic blades to avoid any nicks or danger going on down where it matters the most. And when you order their perfect package, you will not only get the trimmer, you will get some anti-chafe deodorant as well as some toner to make sure everything is smelling and feeling fresh down below the belt. The trimmer also works on your face, it works on your hair, it works on your chest. You name it, it will shave you wherever you need shaving. And you can put it all in the amazing carrying case to take care of your needs on the go wherever you are. So when AJ's on the road following the team, he's in that hotel bathroom taking care of his business. That's all I'm saying.
I had the carrying case over here with me the other day because I was showing it to somebody. But
it's sick. It's a sweet
it's so nice.
So you can get on it now when you go to manscaped.com and use code DNVR20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Huge for us when you use it, huge for Manscaped when you use it. It's a great partnership we have here and a big deal for both of us. So be sure to jump on that if you want to support DNVR as well. Other than that, thank you for listening, and we are out of here.